Hello, good day everyone. Today we are going to discuss to you about Unit 3, the frequency distribution, organization of data, fractals, quartiles, and deciles. But before anything else, I would like to welcome you all to this very important discussion. Please focus on the screen and listen carefully to the reporters, and if you have questions with regards to our topic, raise it after the said presentation. And here are our objectives. At the end of the unit, the students must have illustrated how to describe group data sets and a frequency distribution, discuss the importance of organizing data in relation to interpreting of test scores, and lastly, interpreted the different measures of position such as fractals, quartiles, and deciles.
Let's talk on frequency distribution. By its definition, frequency distribution shows the frequency of repeated items in a graphical form or tabular form. It gives a visual display of frequency of items or shows the number of items they occurred. Organize the data in such a way that all its features are summarized in a table. On the other hand, frequency distribution table is a way to organize data to show either the actual number of the observations or observations falling in each range or percentage observations. Range is the difference between the largest value and smallest value in the data set. Example is, Alex measured the length of leaves on the oak tree to the nearest centimeter. As you can see, there's a lot of numbers in a dataset we need to put in our frequency distribution table. The first thing we need to do is put the numbers in order para hindi tayo malito at wala makalimutan ng mga numero sa isang dataset. Second is find the range. To find the range is we need to identify the largest values and the smallest values, and the largest values will be subtract to the smallest value. For example, in our data set, the largest value is 18 and our smallest value is 1. So 18 minus 1 is equal to 17. Then, divide the range by any number na gusto natin ilagay sa ating rows. For example, gusto nating magkaroon ng 5 rows. So, sa ating data set, so 17 divided by 5 is equals to 3.4. So, we need to round up. So, magiging 4. Sa ating frequency distribution table, makikita na mayroon tayong tatlong column. Sa first column is ICM. So, naging basihan natin dito yung 4 na resulta ng range. So, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on hanggang makuha natin yung 0, 4, 8, 12, 16 kanina. So, sa pangalawang column is makikita ang lower or upper. Dito, magiging basihan natin kung hanggang saan lang dapat ang ating length. So, sa frequency is, makikita rito ang kung ilan ang bumabalik na numero doon. So, dito nakikita natin sa frequency table yung doon kanina sa dataset na ibinigay. So, sa kabuuan, mayroon tayong 38 frequency.
Did you know what is organization of data is? It is the validity and wholeness of your interpreted data, and it is categorizing and classifying data to make it more usable. It has mentioned various methods of organizing data, and these are the classification of data, tabulation data, graphical presentation, and lastly is the diagrammatic presentation of data. In the classification of data, it includes the summary of the frequency of individual scores or ranges of scores for a variables. The classification of data may be done on the basis of qualitative and quantitative aspects. This is very useful, just like to our research studies, by summarizing all the data by using table and figures. Summarizing data makes it easier to analyze the data later. Another method of data is the tabulation of data. It is a way to systematically arrange in the data in rows and columns to facilitate comparison and statistical analysis. The objective is to simplify the presentation and to facilitate comparison, keeping in view the objectives of the study. This form of presentation of data is helpful in finding mistakes and considered the most accurate mode of data presentation. Next is the graphical presentation. It is the data plotted on a pictorial platform formed of horizontal and vertical lines. Graphs can be polygon, chart, or diagram and can create graph on two manually perpendicular lines called the x and y axis. Dots, dashes, dot dashes, and curves are used in this presentation. And lastly is the diagrammatic presentation of data. It is a technique of presenting numeric data through pictograms, cartograms, bar diagrams, and pie diagrams. In diagrams, lines, bars, rectangles, circles, pictures, and maps are used. Diagrams help in visual comparison and they have a bird's eye view.
Fractile is a cutoff point for a certain fraction of a sample. If your distribution is known, then the fractile is just the cutoff point where the distribution reaches a certain probability. It shows where the value stands in relation to other values in the data, and it is the extension of a median. So the picture here is an example of a normal distribution with a fractile of 0.5, which is equal to the mean. In other words, 50% of the distribution lies below the mean. A fractal xp for p greater than 0.5 is called an upper fractile, and a fractal xp for p less than 0.5 is called a lower fractile. The word quartile is sometimes used instead of the word fractile, as they can be expressed as quartiles, deciles, and percentiles by expressing the decimal or fraction in terms of quarters, tenths, or hundredths respectively. So since fractal can also be expressed by percentiles, let us know what is percentile. What is percentile? Percentile divides the data into 100 equal parts. So this is the formula for finding the percentile. Where I is from 1 to 99, that is from percentile 1 to percentile 99, and n is the number of samples. So let's have this example number 1, which is find the percentile 50. The first thing we have to do is to arrange the data in ascending order. So here. So this is the formula of finding the percentile 50. Since you're looking for the percentile 50, our I is 50. So that is now percentile 50 is equal to 50 times we have 15, which is the number of samples, plus 1 over 100. So 15 plus 1 is 16 times 50, that is now 800 divided by 100. So the percentile 50 is the 8th data. And let us now count the number of samples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the 8th data is 10. Therefore, the percentile 50 is 10. So let's have another example. Let us find the percentile 75. And again, do not forget to arrange the data in ascending order. So this is the formula for finding the percentile 75. Since you're looking for the percentile 75, our I is 75. Now we have this percentile 75 is equal to 75 times 15, which is the number of samples, plus 1 over 100. So 15 plus 1 is 16 times 75, and that is now 1,200 divided by 100 is 12. So meaning the percentile 75 is the 12th data. So what is the 12th data? Let's count this number of samples now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the 12 data is 14. Therefore, the percentile 75 is 14. Thank you.
since we already know what is frequency distribution, what is the importance of organizing data, and what is fractals, we will be moving on to quartiles and deciles. In descriptive statistic, quartiles define as the three data points that divide an observation into four equal groups or quarters, so that each part represents 1/4 of the dataset. So makita nato sa image nga natay quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3. Mao ni sila ang tulo ka data points nga nag-divide sa observation into four equal parts. Ug makita po nato nga ang quartile 2 is equal to the median of the dataset. And now for us to know how to find quartile, we have an example here. So for example, the given data is 10, 15, 18, 5, 25, 30, 35, 8, 14, 45. So first, we are going to arrange the data from the smallest to largest value if wala pa siya naka-arrange. And after ana, ito mag-solve for quartile. So the formula for quartile 1 is n plus 1 divided by 4. For quartile 2, we have 2 multiplied by n plus 1 divided by 4. For quartile 3, we have here 3 multiplied by n plus 1 divided by 4. For quartile 4, we have 4 multiplied by n plus 1 divided by 4. And now for example, sa given data, ang kuha natin si quartile 1. So Rn here is 10 since napulo above data ang given. So 10 plus 1 is 11 divided by 4 is 2.75 and item. So muni ato ang pangitaw sa ato ang data. So ang 5 na to mao nga to ang first item. Then our second item is 8. How about 0.75? So understandable na siya nga ang 2.75 and item is between 8 and 10, which is the second and the third item. So para makuha nato si quartile 1, we're just going to find kung asa si second item. So dire ang atong second item is 8 plus 0.75 magikan dito sa 2.75 multiplied by third item which is 10 minus our second item nga 8. So 10 minus 8 is 2. 2 multiplied by 0.75 is 1.5. So 1.5 plus 8 is equal to 9.5. Therefore, our quartile 1 is 9.5. Same process lang siya sa quartile 2, quartile 3, and so on and so forth. Now, to find for quartile division, ang formula lang is quartile 3 minus quartile 1 divided by 2. And now, let's move on to deciles. So decile consists of 9 data points that divide a data set into 10 equal parts. A decile is used to categorize large data sets from the highest to lowest values or vice versa. And we have an example here for us to understand what is deciles and how to find deciles in a data set. For example, mo ni atong giving a data. Now for us to solve for decile, mo ni ang formula. For decile 1, we have here n plus 1 divided by 10. For decile 2, we have here 2 multiplied by n plus 1 divided by 10 and so on and so forth. So for example, sa given nga data nga itong pangitaan sa decile 1. So our n here is 30 since 30 kabok given nga data plus 131 divided by 10 is 3.1. So pangitaan nato ni si 3.1 item sa data. So our third item here is 55. Since namatay 0.1, so it is understandable nga ang 3.1 item is naa between 55 and 57, which is our third item and our fourth item. So para makusal, so ato ibutang si third item which is 55 plus 0.1 gikan sa 3.1 nato multiplied by fourth item minus our third item. So di ba atong fourth item is 57, so minus 55 is 2. Mo nga natay 2. So 2 multiplied by 0.1 is 0.2. 0.2 plus 55 is 55.2. Therefore, the 10% of the 30 scores in the observation falls below 55.2. That's it. Thank you everyone for joining and listening to our discussion. Hopefully, you'll learn a lot from us. Thank you.